We had a little bit of a glitch, one of those we haven't met before. So
a brand new, yes.
Brand new glitch.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We have bigger and better machine, a bigger and better internet, and so we have bigger and better problems.
Yes.
That's
so
it.
You know what? We leave all our intro out because people have heard it several times.
Yes,
we only talk about our special guest, who is Martin Shervington.
Hello.
And he will talk about the topic relationship building through social media, how it works and why is it so important.
Yeah.
And do we want to talk a little bit about him, what we think he is?
What we think he is?
Huh.
Oh, do we want to be that blunt and frank?
I don't know if you want to be.
I don't know. Okay. Well, anyway, he's got a really fantastic resume. He's got more than 1,300,000 followers. He's known for Plus Your Business community and academy, and
I got to know him.
Yeah, and also for Plus Your Life. He knows practically everything about working on air with his information, and Google for Business, and he's published hundreds of tutorials and guides, all free so far. Get them soon. Okay. So Martin is an explorer of consciousness. He's a marketer, a writer on communication. He's a big fan of Ken Wilber and Robert Keegan and the whole integral world. And he's also the author of 8 books and scripts with a psychological twist. Yes.
Yeah, and that's why we are so happy that you are with us, because we are looking out for people who like and love integral thought and are in an integral
and
mindset.
like a psychological twist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we
That's
have
a lovely intro. Thank you. Just so you know, I've got a bit of an echo. The echo's fine. So I put a nice bright orange jumper on so I could match the color scheme, and it wasn't a spiral dynamics thing. It was definitely just to match with.
We are blue. We are blue.
You're blue.
And you are even red.
Exactly. Well, there you go. Yeah.
We follow the rules. You break them.
Colors.
Yeah.
So, hello to everybody watching.
We have done relationship series. First, we talked about personal relationships, intimate relationships, like something like this. And this is the part where we talk about business relationships in business, which I think you told me often that they are personal relationships. So I wonder if you could speak a little bit about how relationship in business is important and how you create.
And why is person? Yeah.
Why is it person? I think Richard Branson said that business is relationships. And when you think about it and you say, I have a relationship with a business, well, how can you have a relationship with bricks and mortar? How, do you go and hug the building, and how do you have a relationship with everybody in the business? Can you do that? Or do you have a relationship with one person? Or do you have a relationship with 2 people or 3 people? When you look at it, it's a personal relationship with one person that may well relate to the next, but you may not as well. So you start to see everybody as individuals. And I think what you've got the opportunity for in social media is to connect with people. And this is the key piece, I think, is we can say business is relationships, but actually, will a person take your phone call? Will a person open your email? Does a person read that content? Do they go to your site and connect with that piece of information? And I think that that's where relationships and connections start to come together. And with social media, what I found, the 3 principles that I generally look at is you connect with people, you engage with them, and you relate to them. And those 3 things have a relationship. So if, for instance, I put out a piece of content and people relate to it, they may engage with it by sharing it to other people. And what then happens is other people start to see me associated with those particular subject matters. So in their mind, they are connecting me to that piece of content, to that story, to those tutorials, to whatever it may be. That helps to build a personal brand. It helps to create trust, and it spreads the information so that more people can have access to the potential of a relationship and potential to connection. I'll give you one example this week. a chap called Mark Allen got in touch and he said, I've been following you for 4 years and I have this project. And as soon as anyone says they've been following me for 4 years, I go, wow, are we really truly connected? And the way to connect is this for me. It's get face to face in whatever way, get into a hangout, get on a Skype call, potentially blab. Telephone calls the next sort of like one down for me, ideally hearing the voice and having half an hour, 3/4 an hour, and talking about a project. And that came because they've looked, dare I say, Mark, if you ever see this, they looked, but they connected that I was talking about certain things. And it's only just now do they go, everything you do is relevant for me. So the question then becomes, can we do business together? So it takes time. And you said, Mark, about, you know, hundreds of blog posts. Ridiculous. I think about 600 blog posts. I mean, loads of video content and so on. And little by little, you find that if you're available and you make yourself available, people will come when the time is right. But you have to give them the path. You have to give them the opportunity. You have to give them the thing that allows them to connect with you further and, you know, take that next step in the relationship. So I don't know whether that's a reasonable starter for 10, but that's my view. Heidi's looking at the screen. It's like I'm an alien.
This is very true. Relationship is, I think, the most important thing we have to take care for. And before we did it just, you know, one-on-one and our shop in the city, and we knew how who everybody is. And now with social media, this is a little bit different. So in many ways, I found it easier to connect with people. But there is a different type of connection, and I wonder if you can speak a little bit to this.
Yeah, and I think ultimately you have a personal relationship with a person. This is the point. It really is one-to-one. You have a felt experience that you're connected and you've had a conversation about something. And one of the problems with social media in a way is that you put content out and there's a lot of sort of, I would say superficial relationships, but what I mean by that technically is the plus ones, the comments, the likes, they don't take it to the next step. They don't have that depth. So you can have a lot of reach, and unless you nurture to move that into another stage, it tends to stay like that. You know, I notice this, that people have been around for a long time, is you need to connect further. So I think that the nature of relationship we have on different platforms is, let's go for that. Nature of relationship. This is one of my favorite phrases. Let's go for why. And the phrase came from my old mentor, Tim Healy. Why do you want the relationships? Why do you want to connect with people on social media? What's it about? And I think for a lot of people who have been around, particularly myself and David Amland, we talk about trust, and we talk about, well, David's the master of writing about trust. We talk about brand building, personal brand building. And what we're really saying is this gives you an opportunity to connect with me and to have a conversation. If you trust and you know that the content I'm putting out is indicative of good quality and you could share it with your friends and so, that's almost the starting point. But if you continue only to build brand, then there's no business at the end of it. So what we've done is very much say to everybody, social media is wonderful for brand building and it's great for community building. But you need to look at conversions. You need to look at the metrics. You have to look at, are you getting newsletter opt-ins? Are you getting leads? Are you getting sales? What is your business on the end of this? Where is this going? Otherwise, you might say, well, it's okay because we're just going to build brand and eventually maybe I'll write a book about something and then, you know, that will be the thing. That's cool. That's all part of it. But I think that the danger is taking the attention that you have with social media. Go, I have lots of followers or lots of people engaged on that content, and it be a temporary. And what you want is to be positioned within a community structure and as part of a network that allows your value to be, I don't want to be so Wilbur about it, but more permanent. You know, you want to have changed yourself to be that person that people will come to and go, oh, the man that I trust, that I believe has a reputation, that is an authority on these subject matters. And therefore, you're the person on this planet to talk about relationships, to talk about social media, to talk about whatever the thing may be. And that takes time, that takes effort, takes energy of building the relationships and deepening the relationships, because otherwise you end up simply posting content. And we've seen this already with other platforms. You post the content and people retweet it, but it doesn't go anywhere. You know, we all want to feel this connection. So I think that I always challenge people as to why are you doing the actions that you're doing? Is it going to get you to where you want to go? In which case you need to decide, where do you want to go?
I think this is so important to decide where we want to go, because
someday we should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often I was not a social media person at all. And then when I understood that I have a mission to bring out into the world, I thought, okay, I have to go to Facebook. So I went to Facebook. And when I came here over to Google Plus about 2 years ago, I was so excited about that, you know, and I got followers, and it was really, the shows brought people in, and it was really exciting. And when I posted things which are interesting for me. But at the end, I think that most people don't really know what I'm up to in terms of business. So in a case like mine, what would you say we should do? Not only Google Plus, but generally when we use social media and not direct one-to-one live conversations.
So let's look at what social media does. Social media gives you the ability to connect with more than one person at a time. And to spread the word through the channels that have already been built or that are building. So for you, Heidi, the model, and for Mark, the model I would have is start with your website as home base. And everything else becomes distribution away from home base. And what a lot of us did is not that. We started with the social platforms themselves being home base. And particularly when you look at Google, it's got a search engine attached, it's got YouTube, it's got the Hangout, it had all of this. It's like, wow, there's enough here. And yeah, actually, if you have home base on your site, you've got a lot more control. You've got the ability for people to opt in, so you get their email address, and you have people potentially get in touch because they can see there's your services page, and you could have a pop-up if you wanted to, and you could, you know, engage them in a slightly different way. And I think that things change, but returning back to website, build up the blog posts, take the videos, have them curated into lots of different people talking about different subject areas, share that, build your community around the content. That way, people start to go, and you get feedback, Heidi. I think this is one of the honesty aspects that you get along the way. If people don't engage, they don't relate. So if you're sharing content and nobody engages and you've been building your network, you take that as feedback, and you need to be shaped by the network. You need to be shaped by people's attention. So if people don't care about that bit, but care about that bit, then the tendency is you write more on that bit, or you produce more video content on that bit, because that then means that you're allowing the audience to decide where things go. And I think that's one of the great things about any video side, in particular, when you've got live events, when you have people chatting, is you can see what people relate to. If they agree or they disagree, this is content. And these are people that are spending their time. I mean, you could be watching cartoons on TV. I mean, with my friend's kid, I've been watching Gumball. You could be watching something else right now, everybody. In which case, become part of it. Become part of the story. Become part of the show. And then as the host, Heidi and Mark, listen to people and bring them in. You know, anybody who comes up with a profound comment in the comment section, turn that into an image quote. Make it about them. Bring those people into being part of your community in a much more sort of almost formal fashion. And maybe then you deepen the relationship further. They say, hey, do you want to join our private community? Do you want to become part? Do you want to join the event in the future? And this is where deepening the relationships starts to happen. And I think that if you go back to home base and then all of these other things, Blab and Hangouts on Air and Twitter and LinkedIn, they're distribution channels. But the people that are paying attention are telling you something. Every time they like a post, every time they +1, every time they comment, they're saying, my attention is there, or I want you to know I'm paying attention. So what do you do with that attention? And I'm saying that you can take it further.
Yeah, this is right. And Can I still say something? Before I came over to Google Plus and heard people like you speak about that, how important it is to leave comments and to plus and like in Facebook would be, I never did that. You know, I just read the things or watched the things, and now sometimes still I have to remember I liked it. So click on like, you know, or on YouTube, leave a comment or something. Yeah. We are just not really used to that.
And the reason why is yeah. Sorry, Mark.
We're much more used to being consumers.
Exactly, and that's the key thing. Yeah, it is, and the consumption side. So there's two aspects if you think about it. You've always got consumption and production. So if you are a content producer, what you're seeking is engagement and the word spreading. If you're a consumer, you're seeking information, or you may be having entertainment. And there's a line between the two, which is where the engagement is. Do you engage on the consumption side, and do people engage on your production? You know, whatever you're putting out. And that, for me, is don't seek engagement for engagement's sake. There's a buzz. I talk about engagement mechanisms being digital dopamine. That's what they really are, is that you get a buzz when somebody clicks that and you see their face, and it's exciting. And these platforms are created to hold our attention. That's what happens. So understand that engagement for engagement's sake, yeah, but engagement as a signal that benefits you to understand who's paying attention, so you can then start a conversation, deepen the relationship, a private message, invite for a private community, whatever it may be. You know, that is a really good thing, because they are signals then. So let's go back. Let's wheel it back to the starting point of why build relationships. Relationships help you build business. I would say that the culture generally across social media is positive and supportive. I think that that's a general vibe. Don't get me wrong. If you go to some, I've seen some YouTube threads that are definitely not like that, and we know that. But if you go in with an attitude of there's a positive experience to be had here, then you're in the right emotional state to be engaging with people. And when I joined Google Plus going back 4 years ago, I was shocked at how supportive everybody was. People like Danny LaBelle and Mark Trapagan and Thomas Power back then is really active, and everybody welcomes you in. And I think that's the piece. If people are not really active yet, it's like there's groups of people, there's communities of people that welcome, because it feels like you're stepping into a very different sort of internet. And social media is a step up from consuming a web page, from being on somebody's newsletter list. It's much more personal, much more connected. And the feeling I had going back 4 years ago was the world is connecting. Social media is connecting the world. Google Plus at the time, because of Google Hangouts and because I'm getting nods from Heidi, because of the connectivity that you have when you have people in the room and they were jumping up and down when they speak. And it felt like the doors of the world had opened. And I feel that that is true. And I think that, you know, that Hangouts are there. I think Blab is doing things. I think virtuality is going to connect us again in a new ways. And, you know, we'll end up with maybe telepathy between us in virtual space. I don't know, but we'll have a very different way of feeling that the world is sort of, you know, a flow of people's views, of people's thoughts, of people's comments. So we can see that technology is moving that way. So with all that in mind, you've got to go to your why. You've got to look at, why am I doing this? And if you can simply be, and you go, hey, this is an enjoyable thing. I have a job, I have family, and then social doesn't need to be business. You can just connect with people and enjoy and learn about. I mean, I love artificial intelligence and there's a virtual reality and all of this stuff, and I can geek out. But if you want to turn it into a business, you have to look at the relationship between what you're into, what you share, what you comment upon, what you're engaging upon, and the people that are sharing that content. What relationship do you want with them? Where does this go? How does this fit in to your plan as a business or as a business owner? So, you know, it gives you the ability to build your brand, to find your community, to find those connections, what is it that you're going to get from that? And I think the sooner you can put in place the reason you are doing these activities, the easier it is then to make it work. And that's something which, it's taken me probably 4 years to get to a point to say brand community conversions. Always be thinking in those sorts of terms when you're looking at social, and don't necessarily think that one platform's the answer. Think that your website, your authority, the blog post, and I've said this all along, make sure you build your blog for a long time. The blog and YouTube videos and all of that, utilize that as a base. Let people come and be there, because somebody on Facebook may go to your site, somebody on Google Plus may go to your site, somebody from LinkedIn may go to your site. You don't have to worry about it just becomes simpler. It becomes about distribution and attention being held as much as possible on the site. I'll stop wittering on there. I think that's brilliant.
So this is really a good reminder, because I sort of jumped into it without any idea. And the Wisdom Factory we do because of our excitement about Integral and all the people, and we want to learn, and with every session we learn something. And this is the how, and that's probably why we don't make money, no? What would you say?
I'd say, but it's not necessarily, unless you have intent, then what you get is a nice, enjoyable social experience. So it has a fine line, Sorry, Mark?
It is a nice social experience to hang out with all of you wonderful people and with the audience, and afterwards in the blab. And there are some people like Hans or Henrik or Aline also. They come often, and Christina, and we have wonderful conversations. So what we need to learn is to use social media in a different way. Isn't it easier maybe on LinkedIn to go for business than on Facebook?
Okay, so let's think about, because let's keep with the same model. Website, LinkedIn's a distribution channel, so is Google Plus, so's Facebook. So instead of thinking about isn't it easier on LinkedIn, think about people. Are the people who are your target audience, based upon where you're trying to get to, spending their time on LinkedIn, on Google Plus, or on Facebook? And as I say, I'm intentionally just flipping it a little bit, because if on Facebook you are sharing your content publicly, which most people, I would say, do now, and your friends and your social graph are not really into what you're into, then of course that's not necessarily going to drive the right people through to your website to take the next actions. If, however, on Facebook you're advertising and you choose the demographics and you choose the locations and you're doing spend advertising, then that's a very different Facebook experience. And what still happens is the intent, a lot of the time, not always, but the intent is you go to the website, sign up for something, but I would really encourage to think about individuals, conversations with the right people back to your site. So using LinkedIn, and I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. I think it's wonderful. I do courses for LinkedIn via lynda.com, and I use LinkedIn as a way to repurpose my blog content. So I take my blogs, put them onto Pulse, which is the LinkedIn platform for publishing individual posts, and I reshare it then, and maybe you get an additional, 500 views, maybe 1,000 views, few thousand views. They have a featured section as well, so it can go viral, and then that gives it maybe 5,000 views, up to hundreds of thousands of views. So your content and the people that you're serving, you can take it and pop it into LinkedIn, and again, it gets extra reach. It doesn't mean you have to spend all your time there. What you then do is you go to the comment section and you look at the people that liked it and you look at the people that shared it, and guess what? You go and say thank you. You go and connect with them. You add them into and suddenly you do the same principle as you're doing on Google Plus, the same bit on Facebook, on LinkedIn. But it starts with your blog, because otherwise, all you've done is put content into a social platform that is tending to stay there, whereas this gives you both. And yeah, there's lots of reasons. I mean, Google Plus, I love Google Plus. Google Plus is wonderful. I also think that we have to be across all platforms in order to spread and to find those people that are paying attention and appreciate what we do, because they may not be on one particular social platform at that time.
So do you have an idea how how to find those people?
Anyone who's paying attention and giving you the signal that they're paying attention, you've just won. That's wonderful. If somebody has liked your post anywhere, then they are, yes, I relate to that. Engagement is an indication of relating. This is the thing. Then you go and you connect further. So let's say it happens. Let's say I put a post out on Facebook. And I like these new, relatively new emoticons at the bottom. So we've got a heart, we've got a wow, we've got a sad smile. I haven't used a sad smile, but we've got all of it, and we got the like button still. So we have now a sentiment graph almost as options that we can put into onto Facebook posts. Let's say somebody hearts something I put out. I can click and see all of the people, and it gives me a breakdown, whether they've liked, whether they've heart, whether they've done. And I can go, should I send this person? Well, actually, before that, should I follow them if I haven't already followed them? Should I send them a friend request if I haven't already sent them a friend request? Great. First thing, that's connecting, essentially. But we need to still deepen it. If they're every post sending me and they look, well, send it that heart or a smiley face or whatever. If the that's the one. If they do that, then they're telling me they appreciate what I do. They relate to what I do, most probably. So how do I then step that into the next stage of the relationship? Do I send them a private message? Do I send them an invite? Do I send them an email if I can, if I've already got their email address? What do I do? And you might say, okay, well, if somebody's liked your Facebook post, here's an interesting, okay, I'll go give an example for YouTube in a sec. But let's say they do it. You step up the relationship. You may advertise to them even. That's another stage. But you don't ignore the fact that that person's paid attention if you want to deepen the relationship and you have a reason to deepen the relationship with that person. Okay, YouTube. Everybody, if you're watching this, you want to subscribe to Heidi's channel. So subscribe. You click subscribe. It means there's a little, this is just an extra tip. There's a little gear cog next to subscribe. You click that and you ask to receive email notifications or updates. And I do this. This is how I get access to some early stuff when Samsung release or Google, only because I've subscribed and get notifications. Okay. But those subscribers, or if you like a video.
I wanted to say, if you subscribe for a channel, this is my personal channel here.
Oh, okay.
But you can subscribe for the Wisdom Factory channel if you are interested in the
Heidi will give you the link, the right one. She'll give you the right one. So anyone who's subscribed or anyone who's liked a video on the right channel, you can market to them via AdWords, via Google AdWords. Now I know this is for some people that go, but don't worry about it. There's processes, and I'll actually put up documents. I'll put out blog posts of how you do this in the future. But somebody subscribing is a sign that they're interested in what you're doing. But unless you re-engage them somehow, very often they may just disappear. They may not see that future thing. So we've got to start connecting between all of the attention that we're getting and the outcomes and objectives that we're seeking. And very often that may be, we want to deepen the relationship. So it could be that you're going to put a course on, or it could be that you have a book coming out, or it could be that you have a private membership community, or it may be that you're an agency and you're looking for clients. But it's knowing that all of this attention can lead to you finding those people that want to go further. They're nodding. They didn't say anything. They just nodded.
Just nodding.
So what you are describing seems to be a lot of work, a lot of time. When we have Twitter, when we have LinkedIn, when we have Google Plus, when you have Facebook, and then you
and YouTube and Pinterest and yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you also want to create content, sometimes. We have created a course. Now it is ready and we want to launch it in a month or two. But it takes time, all that. So how many hours do you work, Martin?
27 a day at the minute, I'd say. Roughly.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't. Right now, I probably don't. I do work a lot of hours. I think that's... Let's not look at how many hours I work. Let's look at how many hours you need to work in order to achieve the objectives. So let's start again. Let's go to why, set your objectives. And then what you need to do is focus on authority building, focus on your story, focus on what you're doing. If you want to blog and you're not going to spend on advertising to start with, that's the starting point, is begin to know what you're going to be talking about based on 1 or 2 channels giving you feedback. In other words, if you put 1 or 2 blog posts out, actually, do you know what I'm going to approach this? I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. And then it's right from the start. So it's not what I would do now. It's exactly what I did. I chose 1 channel. The channel was Google+. And I built relationships with the people that were already on the platform. I +1, I commented, I shared and connected and became part of the network whilst looking at how I could serve the community around me. So I was writing user guides after about day 3. I thought I knew everything after about day 10. And then and it took me years to realize that you never know the whole lot at all. So I created and served up everything I learned in a way that people appreciated. So I then started to become part of the community. Right. But this is the piece. I then started to blog on my site. It wasn't so much, I wasn't really pushing people to my site. And I'd encourage you looking at this quite quickly as opposed to just staying in the platform. But I posted content and I wrote for the community. I wrote for the people that were paying attention. So I wrote, as it happens to be, the psychology of engaging, the psychology of connecting, the psychology of relating. I wrote these about the processes of mind that occur whilst all of this is going on. If you search for any of those terms, you should see the blog post on markshervington.com. And what I found is that people were sharing it and people were listening, people were spreading the word. More than anything, people were commenting. And this is back sort of like 4 years ago, and I spent a tremendous amount more time in the platform building relationships with the people in comments. That's, I think, the way to do it. Start making it about them, share their content, whoever it is that the engagers and the people that sort of engagers, we used to say, the people, say influencers that you want to connect with, and then find out what people relate to. Find your place, find your voice.
My voice, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's something special for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've lost my pencil. I have a mini panic now. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh no.
I have too much twiddling.
You didn't talk without a pencil.
Yeah.
I know. I haven't even got a spare on this desk. It's okay.
Oh my gosh.
So as a business idea, I have the idea for myself to help people find their voice, and not only, content, but I'm a voice coach, I'm a voice therapist. Mm-hmm. So also to go in front of camera and speak with a voice, which even if you are inside in panic, that it does become like this,
Yeah.
So.
I know that one. Yeah. Yeah.
And what you're talking about is perfect for confidence building when people are doing live videos, when they're doing blabs, when they're doing hangouts on air. It's, there's a lot of people that are worried about taking that step, and maybe that's part of a package that then connects to, okay, well, that's the voice bit. Well, what about the community bit? And what about the technology bit? And you start to think about it from like a 4-quadrant model and go, okay, well, what about the show? How do you structure it? And suddenly you're connecting all of the aspects, but being you, Heidi, being you, Mark, as opposed to people feeling they're buying something which is a white box. I've got a white box here. You don't want that. What they want is you. They want your color, your display, your enthusiasm, but skills and history and knowledge.
Yeah, and that's why we together we plan to do courses in intimate relationships over 50. So for the second half of our lives. I mean, there's
over 50. You mean it includes us?
Yes, it does.
Oh,
it does.
okay.
So, we think that, when you get older, the relationship aspect changes quite a bit, and many people instead think, we better stay alone. I mean, even younger people, but older people more than ever, and have a lot of problems, you know, and twice it already went bad. And we have experienced that this must not be the case. And we are full of enthusiasm together to bring that into the world. So I'm as always, at least with 3 or how many feet.
Oh, don't count them all. No.
Can you give me how to say inspiration to concentrate on one thing instead of being, how do you say? We dance on every wedding, we say in German.
See, spread too thin. Yes.
Okay.
So we all have to work with this. So, you know, you probably heard me say it many times. A man who chases 2 rabbits catches neither. All right. So that's my way. It's like you. So I've done this now. Again, is the temptation pulls you, the shiny object pulls you away. That new things pull. What I'm trying to do all the time is pull it back. So we'll come to you in a sec. But what I've done is say, okay, Plus Your Business. My primary focus for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, Plus Your Business. I'm not really blogging on martinshervington.com. I'm not really blogging on Plus Your Life. They are there, but Plus Your Business is the main focus because it's revenue generating. Now, for you, Heidi. If you start with strategy, and that's the why, and then you go for your tactics, how do those activities on a day-to-day basis, you ask yourself, is this moving me closer to my why? And then the operational bit is the doing. And you just make sure it's all going towards what you want to achieve. The difficulty with social is you can set out and you can do anything. You can put your store out and some people are probably going to pay attention. But unless you're only building brand and you're not looking at building business, then that's what you get. You get the attention. And if you're getting millions and millions of YouTube views, then you can earn good living from advertising. But if you're getting less than that, then you have to go, okay, well, how do I serve the 50, 100, 200 people that are paying attention? And to do that, I think we have to listen. We have to see how we help. So to see how we help and to see how we listen, we have to know what they're saying. So whether it's survey people or reach out one-to-one, what are people looking for? You've got to find a way of really understanding those people better, because otherwise you only have the like, the +1, the smiley, happy face, the heart. You have the digital signals. There's a person sitting behind that, and you want to connect with them at a deeper level. You know, the great thing about social is you can almost do anything. The bad thing about social is you can do anything. So, you know, you want to bring it back to, is your heart in it? Are you waking up every day going, yeah, this is the thing? But you have to listen to the community. It can't be just you going one direction. You know, you've got to be shaped, particularly the early days.
Mm-hmm. It's really difficult to stay that disciplined and focused on what one thing we really want to do, because I have lots of interests. You know, and Facebook just leads me off into fields. And I have, you know, people that I talk to regularly on Facebook about things that have nothing to do with business.
And then I ask him, did you tell them that we have a show next Friday? No.
But they are built to take our attention and lead our attention somewhere. You know, and somewhere just being, if you look at an article on a robot, artificial intelligence monkey system. I love this whole thing, right? So if you look at that, and then your next one comes up, and you go like, oh, that monkey can now feed itself ice cream or whatever, and then you're down the rabbit hole, bam. And that's kind of how it is, because the attention moves you that way. So tips, if you want tips, I don't have social notifications. Chris Brogan got me off this shirt. I don't have any social notifications on my phone. If I get a new email, I have to go into it to find it. If I go to Facebook, I have to find. I don't have any push notifications. I don't have the tabs open at the top of my computer for any of those social channels. Just wait in. Is anybody getting engaged? I go in, I find what I want, or do what I want, and I leave. Now, occasionally I might browse, but if I'm outside, these are wormholes. We know this. All of our attention goes into this space, so we're not in the world. So I try, and I do much better than I used to do, and not fiddling with my phone. If I'm in the world, my phone's in my pocket, and unless somebody phones me, as in telephone call, it's unlikely you're going to get my attention. You know, it's on my terms. I am the boss of my phone now. Yes, I am. However, I do explore virtual reality. And when you're in virtual reality, it's like that, or like that, whichever way. You know, then you're in another space and your attention's 100%. So unless you know why you're doing it all that happens is your attention moves based upon the experience that happens, that hits your mind at that point in time. And if you engage upon it, then you move to the next bit. You know, but we're using these techniques as social media marketers to grab people's attention and then move their attention. It's the same. It's not Facebook. The Facebook's just a platform that allows marketers, not to say just, but it is a platform that allows marketers to grab attention and move attention. And Google Plus and LinkedIn and all of these places. So you have to sort of understand what's going on. If you're not driving people's actions, then are you consuming and basically giving people those digital signals from the other side? You know, which side are you consuming or are you producing? Do you know what you're doing with social?
Yeah, so this is the danger, no, in which we are into, to be just caught instead of using the social media for building relationships, for bringing out our message. It is sort of using us, because I experience these, I still have to do this and I still have to do this and this and blah, 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 blah. So it seems to be, as you said, down the rabbit hole in some way, in a negative way. Yeah. So
but you can learn a lot and it's wonderful, but know that it's your time and attention. Do you know? I don't know if it's useful to give everybody a tip. If I can find my pencil, I can see it now. Hold on, I'm going to go and get my pencil back. Yeah, I've got anxiety separation going on. Right, but I'll explain why. I sit there very often on Hangouts, and everyone go, "Why has he got a pencil?" Right, so this is, if people want real, basic, practical, how do you? I have a book, and I have to-do lists on the one side, and I have projects or what's going on the other side. And Heidi's been doing this for a while, and people in my academy have learned this process. If I don't do this, if I don't go, okay, what am I doing, and back to it, then my attention, as soon as it hits the computer, is being driven by whatever is urgent or pressing or grabs me and engages me and pulls me in. If I'm not able to go, okay, what am I doing here? Oh yeah, and then I go back to my to-do list and I tick it off. And those are to-dos like, for instance, I need to connect with people on LinkedIn from a list of business cards I picked up from a conference. I haven't done that yet. I need to do that. That's there. You know, once it's done, it's ticked off, and then I'll move from there. And there's more to the process than that. But this is a lifeline. You know, it's almost like it's tied around me that I come back out of the internet. It's like, all right, what am I doing? I'm building my business. This is what I need to focus attention on. And it saves me from getting lost and pulled. You know, and it may work for people. Give it a go. That's a very simple version of it.
Yeah, at this point, I would like to do a little bit of publicity for you. You are teaching so many things in your academy. And this was one of the things, the more easy things. There are more specific things which I find a little bit difficult for me, as it is not exactly my interest. But could you speak a little bit about that, and who might be the right person to join you there?
Yeah, thank you. So I've run for almost about 2 years now an academy, which is a private community, and we have a library. And over the 2 years, it's evolved. We started off very much about Google Plus, connecting with social and search engines and site and getting content to flow. And now, same principles, but we are talking in terms of build your brand, engage your community, increase your conversions. So it's very much a business focus, and it's for people who are looking at how to use the internet for business. We're across all channels, LinkedIn, Google Plus, YouTube, so on, and we connect everybody up. So there's an automatic community structure for people, so they can come in and feel safe and secure, that they can learn, ask questions, and connect with people across the platforms and become part of something. So that's the one sort of individual offering we have, and we're about to launch the agency site for Plus Your Business, which will be the main site in about a month's time for corporate clients that are looking at working with us in a sort of outsourced fashion for their marketing. And as you say, Heidi, there's personal development stuff in the academy as well, like how to very quickly move through problems, how to set outcomes, how to set the objectives, and things like that too. Sorry, Mark, I cut you off. I cut you off because I continued. Yeah,
the people can reach you at martinshervington.com.
But if people want to email me, then martinshervington@gmail.com is my personal email. If anyone wants to check out the website, it's PlusYourBusiness.com. MartinShervington.com is my blog, but I tend to blog a little bit there, but not as much as Plus Your Business, because I'm focused on Plus Your Business.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. Great things to learn. We are a little bit behind.
This is what I'm taking away, though. Focus, focus, focus. And it's a matter of taking charge of, in my case, taking charge of Facebook. So it serves us rather than vice versa. So yeah, I really like...
and it's knowing your outcomes. It's not just the focus. It's actually focus your attention when you know why. What are you seeking to achieve through the behavior? And that piece, if you can answer that piece, then your actions, your to-dos, all of your day, start to work towards that.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. I think you have given us sort of a coaching session, but I think it will be very valid for other people, especially if they want to.
And we didn't pay for it. We gave it free.
Thank you.
Yeah. All that stuff, all that free stuff he has. Yeah.
Yeah. Who is interested in that? I can highly recommend that.
Yeah.
And who hasn't seen the rest of all our shows? We still have 2 more weeks to go, and there is the replay on www.ly/Wisdom Factory. You can get it there for only $29. You get about 24 or 25 hopefully well edited videos. We cut all the stuff from the beginning out. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Martin, for being here. And we are going over in about 10 minutes to Blab.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find us there. It's also on the event page on Google+. There's the direct link. While here, you have to find us. I mean, click one more time.
Don't jiggle the sign when you're trying to read it.
Okay. Learning curve. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Martin.
Thanks, Martin.
Also for your patience.
Have a great weekend.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.